Okay. I think we are ready to go. Let me just get Raj and Psych. ToG Tuesdays. The Tuesdays of ToG. We're not gonna have we're not gonna have that long of a ToG Tuesday today, I don't think. But that's okay. We don't need a super long one for this. It's been a hectic week. I haven't really had time to like prepare. I haven't really had time to prepare discussion points for this one. So we're getting a more generalized discussion today, and one that I'm luckily happy to gush about. Okay. Let's see. What do I need to set up? Oh, no, we should be good. Alright. I guess we'll start, as always, with just a little chapter review. There's not too much to talk about here. It's not, I wouldn't say it's a nothing chapter. It's not quite the nothing chapter. It's not the chapter that I am looking forward to discussing. I think that might be in 1 or 2 weeks. But I don't remember when anything happens in this anymore. It could have happened already and I just forgot. We just have, so we start off in the Cat Tower. And Evan Kell enters, fights Mule Love, you know how it is. Or, fights Mule Love, Jesus. No, fights, Sicarius to defend Mule Love. I wouldn't say fights, that's actually a strong word. Evan Kell can, like, crush this guy. Webs just get burned. It's like a video game. He cannot buy time. What's up, Pachaka? What's up? How we doing? Dude, welcome to WOG Wednesdays, bro. It's WOG Wednesdays. I didn't have time on Tuesday. It was a busy day on Tuesday. I couldn't do it on Tuesday, but I still wanted to get a ToG discussion in this week. We had to do WOG Wednesday. I could have done, like, ToG Thursdays, but I don't know. Actually, you know, I haven't read the Kubera chapter from Neighbor for today. We could talk about Kubera today instead. We just have Evan Kell kind of body this guy. It's whatever. And then the portal activates. It's like pretty standard ToG stuff. It's like an actual enemy is needed to fight Evan Kell. And so we get all the troops out. I don't really know why they bring troops. It's like they're not gonna, like, the troops are just gonna die. Like, there's no reason. They should have just brought White Garment and Sicarius, I guess. These guys are just gonna die. Kind of sad. Oh well. Maybe they're just knocked out. Maybe she didn't really kill them. They didn't really do anything wrong yet. They get burned to death. There's a lot of them. I guess, I mean, like, if they get into the Cat Tower, I guess they can, like, kill, like, Shibizu if they actually, like, get past Evan Kell. But I don't know. There's a giant capsule. There's, White Garment. I think White Garment actually looks kind of cool. There's, like, 6 titties, 10, 12 eyes? Let's count them. We can assume symmetry. It's actually going to be an odd number. It's going to be 6. 13 eyes. That's actually interesting. That's actually a reference to, that's a reference to King Zahard and the 12 Great Warriors. See, this is the eye for Zahard in the middle. This is the eye for Zahard here. And then this one, I don't know which one this one is, but I think this one is Ari Han. And then this one is Ari Han. Now, they say they make this joke. They make the joke about this being a mom and not a dad. I think this is a little bit silly. This one kind of struck me as odd, like just a tad. And the reason for that is, again, if you look up, you actually see long hair, lipstick, you know, kind of a feminine mouth, pretty feminine mouth, and of course obviously, as I pointed out, 6 titties. How would anyone mistake this for a man? This is clearly a woman. I don't really know what's going on here, but you know, I think it's a cool design. They're making fun of her, but I think it's a cool design. Now, when we want to go to uncool design, let's switch. Let's switch to uncool designs. All right. All right. So, this new guy finds out that the regulars have been captured and Jin Sung Ha is going to be sealed. I guess this guy is in charge of the sealing process, so that's kind of cool. So this is Lopobia, Orari, and Yorari. So Orari is the guy, and Yorari is the snake. And I guess this little snake, so he's a branch leader, right? So he might be the 8th son. I mean, this is, or maybe, well, I don't know. This guy could, the father here could be the 8th son. Are we over or under on Yorari being the 8th son? I'm leaning towards yes. I'm leaning towards this guy, this guy, the candidate. I think he's gonna be the do I need to turn the music down, by the way? It's just kind of loud in my headphones right now. But I think this guy, Orari, could be the son of the 8th son. So he could be the 8th grandson of Lopobia. That would be kind of wild. We could be looking at a prince right now. And there's then the snake guy for some reason. I guess he's like body morphed into, but like, what if this big snake is actually, what if the big snake is actually the 8th son? Like, what if this guy's the actual 8th son, and then this guy is the son of the 8th son, and this guy is the grandson of the 8th son? I would like some clarification on that in the coming weeks. But either way, it's, you know, that's the family in charge, so Chaw has to show up soon. It's kind of a guarantee, because he has to fight the big snake with the wand. He looks kind of like a bum, and I'm gonna put it out there. I'm actually gonna put it out there. I know we did this segment of it last week, but we do have to look at a very obvious inspiration for Lopobia Orari. Let's go to chapter 3 real quick, or chapter 2, I guess. Obvious reference to Gandharva. Let's scroll up again. Let's just see the resemblance here even more clearly. All right. Green hair. You know, kind of baggy robe. He probably has abs under this. I mean, he's a ranker, by the way. Like, he obviously is gonna be, you know, kind of well built. He's gonna be. I know he looks like it. Look at that Adam's apple. Actually, it's kind of like me. I don't know if you guys can see. I've kind of a big Adam's apple myself, but you know, I mean, this guy again, Harva doesn't really have a snake theme going on, but it's the same general color scheme. You know, he's got blue skin. This guy has blue skin, and they're both kind of pussy-ish looking. So we get this guy kind of bumming around. He doesn't look nearly as cool as like any of the other. Doesn't look as cool as any of the other like candidates we've seen. It's kind of sad. This guy's kind of left out. Kind of not really dressed for the job. It might be a Friday in the Lopobia family. So they're just gonna hiss at him. I don't know. Do you guys think that this guy talk? Like, do you think people hear him when he talks, or is it like he's communicating telepathically and everyone else just hears like hissing noises? Anyway, so I guess they're just gonna seal Jin Sung for some. I don't understand why the Lopobia family is in charge of sealing Jin Sung. That's definitely gonna be a bad idea. Like, the Ha family is probably just gonna come after them and murder them or something. But whatever. So they're gonna seal everyone. That's cool. Puts his hands up, waves his hands in the air like he just doesn't care. And why should he? It's casual Friday. He came in with slippers. He has no attachment to this. Make sure to show the reference to Bomb's face when he's teleporting away from White. It's the face. Wait. Let me see that. Wait, which face? That one or which one? Let's see. Let's check it out. Alright, so we get Sensio. He killed everyone for pretty much no reason. Obviously gave them away. I don't understand why Macheni can't implicate the princess guards in this. Like, I don't understand why these guys had to die. I really don't think it make a difference, you know? They should probably show loyalty to, like, Macheni or something over the Lopobia family. Alright. Unfortunately, you know, there's a little Among Us reference here. So we keep going on. This guy starts panicking. It's no longer casual Friday for him. It's now urgent Friday. Everyone comes out. Now, this is actually an interesting cast of characters. And they made one unexpected decision here. I didn't think they were going to let Yule in. That's actually, this is actually Yule right here. This isn't Vicente, which is pretty surprising. It's weird. It's a weird one. Oh, and then here's Bomb's face here. He's very determined. Wait, make sure the reference to Bomb's face when he's teleporting away from White. Let me see that again. Let's bring that up. That was a long time ago. I'm surprised you remember that reference. Is it this one? Wait, no, this one's too far back. Oh, crap. Which one is it? Maybe it's this one? No, maybe it's this one? Let's see. Yeah, wait. Yeah. Wait, maybe? When does he teleport away? Okay. Let's see this. Oh, no, it's next chapter. Alright. Oh, here we go. Okay, what does he look like? What does his face look like? This. Green's face when he's... Wait, let's see this. Green's face when he's wait. Maybe? I mean, I don't know if I see it. Not yet. Not yet. When does he... Let's wait. I mean, it's like the same general expression. I feel like this is just like, I don't think this is a reference. I think it's just like a default. I think this is a default expression. I mean, Bomb's eyes are different in this too. Like, they're just screaming with their mouths open, I guess. This is a good open mouth reference, actually. I wouldn't. Yeah, but no, they're similar. I mean, it's the same expression. You're right. Although he's kind of squinting more. That's like the only real difference in it. And Bomb is, of course, just ready to go. Now, this was probably the coolest part of the chapter. We get some DNA, and we get a bag of sorts. We get some kind of sack. And we get the actual Lopobia family leader, Lopobia Traumare, which is a name. That's a name they can give him. He kind of looks like a monkey here with this protruding. He has like a protruding lip or like an overbite, some kind of like teeth thing. He looks a little chimpish. He looks like a. Maybe this is a reference to, like, I don't know, maybe it's like some kind of like animal, like Charles Darwin monkey evolution reference. I don't know. What I really like about this is the room that it's in. I love that it's like a DNA theme. It's like all the Lopobia family is like looks like an Australopithecus. Australopithecus. Yeah, I kind of agree. I was thinking, I was rereading this chapter a couple weeks ago, and I was also thinking it looks a little bit like an Australopithecus, or a Paranthropus, or a Paranthropus. Yeah, I see it now. I didn't see it until you mentioned it, but yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I see where you're. I see where you're going with it though. Yeah. No. Yeah. You're right. Australopithecus. What is a Paranthropus? Oh. Yeah. I was thinking. Kind of looks like an NFT a little bit. He's like an NFT with a jacket and like different hair. Same vibes. How much ether do you think you could get for selling a Traumare? But I think this kind of sets up the I think what this kind of sets up so the cool thing this does is it kind of places him above the animals. Like, above the animals of the Lopobia. Like, all the Lopobia animals are, like... Or the branch heads are, like, animal-themed. But this guy's kind of, like, above that. Like, he represents, I guess, the fundamental nature of the Lopobia. So maybe he can shapeshift. I don't know. That'd be really cool if he could do that. I don't think he's gonna, but... It'd be cool if he could. But I'm really hoping it kind of shows, like... Yeah, something like he's surpassed animals or something, or he's like the pinnacle of evolution. That would be cool to call there, as they're saying there. But I think it also helps to like show his disconnect to, because if we go, and I know we've seen this probably a few times by now, but if we go back to Name Hunt Station, we can maybe get a hint as to how he changed. Because we had, I don't know if it's probably not this episode. It might be one. It might be one that's like before. Maybe it is this one, but I don't think it is. Maybe it's maybe it's the one before. But we show him as like connected to no. We show him as like he's very connected to the animals of the tower. Or maybe just animals in general. Where is it? Where's that stupid panel? Where's that stupid panel of the Lopobia people? Ah, here we go. Alright, so he's like very, very connected with the animals. He's got a little cool robe on. And now he's got... now he's got a, I mean, what is he wearing? What is this? Is this like... leather? What's up, Thos? Good to see you. Good to see you too, Senrosa. I didn't say hi earlier, but I saw. I appreciated the message. But yeah, so he's got this leather. Leather's made from. All right, I don't wear leather. Leather's made from like. Is leather made? Leather's like an animal product, right? Where does leather come from? Yeah, yes it is. Alright. Smooth brain moment over. But he's got his black leather jacket. So, I mean, I guess he's wearing animal products now. He's like above the animals. He's disconnected from what he used to be, is what it looks like. From what we remember from the flashback, this could be a good hint as to like how he changed. And I think that's cool. Oh really? He did? That's hype. From, was that the Super Mario Bros. Wii? Thus. But yeah, so I think that was, I think that could be a hint at what we're seeing with Traumerei. But it's cool. Dimensional Bamboo Shoot, I think, did a great job here. We'll be talking a little bit about Dimensional Bamboo Shoot. But I think all in all, this was just more of the same for ToG. This is another. I wouldn't call this like a terribly interesting chapter. It doesn't really show anything of like what Traumerei wants here. It just kind of shows that he exists. I think it was a little bit insubstantial. I would have preferred maybe a more definitive reveal for him. But you know, whatever. And I will say, as always, just for the benefit of our good friend Calder, no raw spoilers. We haven't spoiled anything yet, obviously, but just a quick reminder. It's in the title as well. But yeah, here we go. Yeah, I've complained a lot about like the Traumerei silhouette. Like, it just doesn't really show anything about him. Like, we get more of his personality from the throne itself than anything he says or does in this reveal. So, it's like, whatever. It's like, we know he's here and that he'll show up at some point, and that's all there is to it. Like, you're supposed to be hyped, but there's really nothing to be hyped for. I mean, the thing about Evankhell being here is, like, Evankhell just got here. Like, this is just the first chapter for Evankhell being here, you know? There's still plenty more to see with her. She could, you know, I mean, she'll have a fight against White Garment, so, like, who cares? What do you mean? What do you mean the family head is who you got spoiled the most on? There's, I'm gonna spoil this for you. There's nothing to fucking spoil you on. Like, this is pretty much what we have. I don't know what to tell you. Want to see the white balls the goons have in action? Yeah, that'd be cool. It is what it is. I mean, honestly, I feel like these little insect guards are probably the most interesting looking group of Lopobias we've seen in like the last 10 chapters. I don't know. No, you know, the army counts. The army is the most interesting group of Lopobia in the last 10 chapters. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I guess people are trying to update his wiki page. We had so many issues with him. People are trying to, like, update this guy's wiki page. Like, as soon as he came out in the Raws, and we're like, stop. We had to ban, like, a bunch of people trying to do that stuff, like, temporarily. That's a different snake. That's the snake charmer, Thos. That's the snake charmer. That's different. That was a different snake. That snake had, like, gold teeth or something. This is just a regular. Well, this is just like a regular snake, yeah. This is not related to Andrasi in any way. At all. Just a regular guy. See, this guy, he doesn't even have any, like, gold fangs. He only has, you know, the regular cobra fangs or whatever. I think the snake here does look cool, though. I think it's, like, a cool design for a snake. It's nice. What was the other snake guy called? The one in contact with the boss? Yule? Stop asking what Yule's name is. He's a major character, guys. He's gonna be very important. Just you wait. Just you wait. He's gonna surprise you, Calder. He's gonna surprise you. No, it's not a spoiler. I'm just putting it out there. He's gonna surprise you. Have faith. Have faith in Yule. But yeah, that's all there is to this chapter. I would like to go back to the very beginning of Tower of God. I'd like to go back to the very first episode of Tower of God. Let's go all the way back to Season 1. Back when Baum is busy chasing Rachel. Chasing some tail in the cave. It's the only tail he's got, I get it. You can't let that go. If you only know one woman, she's a keeper. So, we're just gonna be appreciating the art. It's not gonna be that long. It's not gonna be that long of a ToG Tuesday discussion. We're just going to be appreciating the art of Tower of God today. I really want maybe at some point we'll do like a longer thing about the art, but I just want to go through it and then talk about the artistic journey that we've had. I don't know if Desire, I think Desire is a very overarching thing in the, I don't think it's out of place. It's more relevant in Season 1 when everyone's getting to know each other. but it is not irrelevant. Like, I would still say it's not irrelevant. I would say it was recently as post-hiatus. What bothers you about, are you talking about the current art of Calder? Or, like, looking at Season 1 art now? It's interesting that Rachel's definitely a lot more, like, average looking in Season 1. Like, she's got a weird head. She's got, like, a weirdly shaped head. Like, she's got, like, a very... You get her, actually, I think if you, like, put little dots on her head, like, she would look like Lyra Rowe. Like, if you put the dots on her cheeks. You can make her look like Lyra Rowe in this panel. But I think... I mean, there are pros and cons. There are pros and cons to all phases of ToG art. The con in this is that it's sloppy. ToG is very sloppy in Season 1. It gets better, but it starts out pretty sloppy. I'm having a lot of fun with this rubber band, by the way. It's really fun to stretch. It comes with every order of Blaze Pizza. So... we start off, we get some kind of janky shit. His fingers are weird. I don't know. His head is weird. Everything looks weird. But we get probably the most, and this is actually what I liked about the anime adaptation as well. It wasn't, it wasn't like 100% mega accurate to what Tower of God Season 1 looked like, but both of them captured what I would say is a mythical feel of Tower of God. Like, this is something you don't get with clean art, but it's much more painted in Season 1 and early Season 2. I would say about up until Workshop, Tower of God had a painted quality. My favorite art is in Dollar Show, so that's actually past the painted phase, but this is you cannot deny that the atmosphere peaks in the first probably 120 chapters of ToG. So we get a black background for a lot of Tower of God 2, which I also think is a major plus. It helps build, in my opinion, immersion and atmosphere. It's like I think having like a background of darkness really helps build up the mystery. I'll say it again. I'll say there are two things that I think Tower of God could do, like, immediately, and, like, everyone would love the art. Like, everyone would love it. One is to make it at night. Like, if SIU never does things at night anymore. We haven't really had darkness since, like, Dollar Show. Like, even after... I mean, there are other times we've had darkness, but, like, when we've had it as, like, a major... like, part of the setting, it would have been Dollar Show, I think. Like, Cage, Walls, Nest, all of these primarily take place in the day, and I think having it take place at night will give it a more intense feel. I think the beginning of Nest actually takes place at night, and I did appreciate sometimes it looked like there was like a sunset or a sunrise or something in there. I actually did think that was cool. Actually, there's a giant eye behind Hedon. There's actually a lot of really subtle things in the imagery that's, like, awesome. Like, there are things that you could miss. Like, these glowing lights, like, you don't know what they mean. There's this eye behind Hedon, and it all gives the impression... The eye is gone now. That's kind of scary. That's kind of spooky. Something moved. But you get, like, things kind of watching Bomb from the background. Like, you get, like, this is probably just a shadow and a light, but it looks like it's an eye. You get these figures in the background, and you don't know what they are. It really does a great job building up the mystery of, like, where Bomb is on the first floor. We get a lot of atmospheric lighting, which is really cool. You don't know what's real and what's an illusion. Like, Hedon makes this wall disappear. You don't know what any of the fucking imagery on the wall means. And there's a really good sense of scale as well. Yeah, it's distorted. It's distorted, and that's cool. Starts the fantastical notion of place that grants your wishes, and you have the dichotomy and the real nature of the dichotomy of the fantastical art and the real nature of the tower. I think I see what you're saying. I might look for some examples as we kind of go through of that last part. The art is viewed to match the distorted nature of the people. But I really like what you're saying there, at least in concept. I can't think of any specific examples there right now, but yeah, and that's true. It really does feel like this is going to be a place of like legendary wish granting power. And then of course the other thing that ToG would definitely improve with, if it adds the black background again, I guarantee you Tower of God would like nobody would ever give it, like nobody on Naver would ever give it a 5. Like they could do whatever they want. We could have like a full chapter of like Evan Kell fight, and everyone on Naver would give it a 10 as long as the background was black. That's all we need at this point. And we also, something else that we get, and this is something I really like in Tower of God. We don't really get it past, I'll talk about the paneling. I'll actually tell you, I think paneling peaks, and this is another part of why the art there is my favorite, but I think paneling peaks in Hell Train. It's the only time where we get really insane really good action composition. Like we will never, we have never gotten action composition as good as we've gotten in Daller's show and the stuff around it. I just realized this is actually kind of an off black. It's like a dark red a little bit. What is going on here? That's really cool. We had some stickering. But yeah, I also really like the way there's like, I really like the coloring as well. It's like very vivid. I know we get a lot of vivid colors now in ToG too, but it's just like things glow more. I love it when Tower of God glows. We get more glowy stuff in like the first half of Tower of God, I would say. Like we get the Shinsu glowing. I guess, you know, deep concentration Shinsu glowing here. So if we go, I'm not gonna go chapter by chapter, but we are gonna take just like a little look, and we get a sense of like this scale of like the environment is in. I think Tower of God does a really good job building atmosphere in these early chapters. Like you see this like you see the faded lights around people. It's kind of like, it's almost like there's a fog. It's almost like there's like dust or fog surrounding the characters. And it really is like you're in, I guess, like the Tower of God version of like an abandoned temple or something. It's really cool how there's this dusty atmosphere in this. And I think the painted quality really I guess the dusty atmosphere complements this painted quality that early Tower of God art has. So it's really cool. It's a really great atmosphere. And it helps build like a legend. It helps build this like really legendary scope. And you see really cool stuff here. Like you get like the fragmentation of the pocket, or the pocket wrapper. We haven't seen anything like that really ever. Like I think it highlights the unfamiliar. I mean, it highlights a ton of things I've said by now, but it also makes it look more unfamiliar, as like we get to witness the spectacle of certain things happening in the tower, like the pocket unraveling, like our first, you know, Shin Hyu introduction. The expressions I do think are kind of plain here, but I think the as Rollo had said, the paneling is really good. So you don't need the craziest expressions in season 1. You do get good expressions in season 1. You do get good expressions of body language, but you don't need the focus to be on that, because the paneling itself and the atmosphere helps set the mood, so you already know how characters are acting. Like the Evans expression here is pretty fucking mellow. Honestly, like this is not all caps face right here. It's kind of a weird face too. It's kind of like, it's kind of, I don't know how to describe. It's kind of blocky. But you get like these thin panels of like the expressions kind of like side by side next to each other, like they're matching each other's energy. You get the close up on Yuri's eyes to, even though it's not like that intense of an expression, it's a more intense gaze. So you already know, like you know how she's acting. You know what. I'm not gonna say you don't know what's being conveyed in other scenes, but it does still feel genuine, and like it matches the energy of the scene here. Whereas sometimes later on, there is maybe a bit of a disconnect. You get some skin-colored sweat, which is very visceral, so you know it's like a really like he's sweating his skin off. You know it's a really intense scene. You know he's really scared to fight the eel. It's really cool. You know, normal sweat is kind of a clear color, but you know, Bomb drips the color of his own skin tone. It's like his makeup is running. It's like he's in a movie. But let's skip ahead a little bit. This is actually a really good show of like the kind of atmosphere and combat Tower of God can produce. You have Bomb's look of determination here. It's really nice. And there's a really good like contrast between, you know, the fear here or not fear, but him being overwhelmed by the rush of energy here and then getting past it or facing it head on. Stuff like that kind of reaction. And I know you've posted like your little panel edits, Rolo, in general chat. So I know you know what I'm talking about here. Where that kind of focus on the expression sets the scene really well. And it makes the emotions feel more genuine. As we're experiencing, you know, what Bomb is. We get the process. We get his emotional process. Just came back from the latest chapter, and man, SIU's art has gotten 100 times better. I can still sympathize with this guy because he's commenting from 2015, and the art was still really fucking good back then. It does help the pacing as well. It does help the pacing, and I would still say it doesn't waste space. It does not waste space. A lot of the time when you have like that slower stuff, when you just like get reaction panels, you tend to feel like maybe you're wasting space here, and you should focus more on like the actual, I guess, action of it, like the actual movement. But I don't think you need. I think it's very important. I think it's very important to be able to see what, like how a character is thinking. That's the character's facial expression is really as close as we can get to an inner monologue without giving needless exposition. So I think it could actually, it might not waste a lot, or like it might waste some time that could be devoted to movement or dialogue. But at the same time, it can save a lot of energy on needless thought bubbles or dialogue. We get a lot of smaller paneling here, which I think is also fine. It like gives more. It gives like the way it interacts with the speech bubbles is actually kind of cool. So there's, unlike new ToG panels, more of the text is outside of the panels or around it. And I think it's really good for, it makes sure that even though we have smaller panels, there's like not any wasted space. Like the text, like even though it allows you to like appreciate the art more, since the text is kind of out of the way. And like the text is, maybe not, out of the way is not quite the right expression here. I think it helps kind of determine the order in that, like in which it flows. Like you jump, for example, from, you know, this, or I guess this big panel. This one sets it, and then you go into Yuri's dialogue, and then you get to see her reaction, and then you go down to Evan's reaction. You see Yuri shouting in the background, then you zoom in on Evan's face and you see his train of thought. It's a really cool flow of perspective. It's really it's kind of cool. It's actually, I'm only really noticing it now. It's actually, well, but pal, it's still WOG Wednesday where I am. Also ToG Thursday, you know, I mean, they still start with T. I didn't get to do a ToG Tuesday on Tuesday. I was really busy. But I still wanted to do it. I still really wanted to do it. I really wanted to get something this week because I haven't really been doing any sort of streaming for the most part for these last few days. But yeah, this is Yeah, the splits are really good. I think the splits are always really good. It's really good at segmenting the whole thing. Um, but I think we're gonna move on to. Actually, no. Well, before we move on, let's talk about the action here. There's another really cool one. All right. So you get him being eaten right now. We get some little blood. You think it's Bomb's blood, right? You think it's his blood. Then you get the reaction of the eel. You get a close-up on the eye, and you get detail in the eye, and you get a more like sharp pupil. And this gives like a more intense expression in his eye. Even maybe it's not, you know, I don't know how accurate it is to what a normal white steel eel looks like. You get more dialogue here, and then boom, something happens. His mouth gets all red. And bam, you get this like windy quality. There's that painting I was talking about. You get action painting. It's amazing. Action painting. You never get that in ToG nowadays. Sometimes we do still get good action in ToG, but you never get painting. You never get painting ToG. Especially not for the action. We get painting ToG sometimes. We got some painting in the white scenes. But here we see, I think what's really cool here, and I'm going to talk about this a lot. This is actually my favorite, this is in contrast to my least favorite thing about current ToG art. SIU is a fucking master in the first half of ToG in not never needing, but like, he uses action lines much more sparingly. Now I say I don't like the action lines, but we have action lines in this panel. We have action lines here, here, here. They're kind of all around, but they're very, it's like you can see the motion. Very, like if this was new ToG, like this whole thing would have like diagonal black lines going all across the panel. Here we only see the motion lines where it's necessary, and we have other ways of showing the movement in the scene. Like, we only see it where it's, like, we only see them where it's necessary on the actual, like, parts where the movement is occurring. We see the movement is coming from Bomb's, you know, sweet fat ass. We see blood dripping out and flying out. We have saliva flying out of the mouth. We have a really good upskirt of Bomb right here. It's a good thing he's wearing long pants. We can still see, like, he's flying, and the perspective that we get here is a bit disorienting, which is cool, because we know Bomb is kind of going upside down here as he's flying out of the mouth. We get more blood flying out. We get a nice red text roar, which is pretty wild. If this was new ToG, we just see a Kurr here. We just see a K and then an R with all black. We get the whooshing around, like we see the eel's body spiraling around, and we see the scale of it too, because it's kind of blending in with the rest of the blue background. So you know it's like really big, because there's like a layer of fog in between Bomb and the rest of the eel's body. Like we see the foreground, here, and the background of the eel here. It's really good, and then we see more wind lines, which is great, as opposed to, you know, the black diagonal lines. It's really cool. It's really cool seeing how early action is portrayed. We get a nice little ripple. I don't think SIU's gotten any worse at showing rippling, so I'm not going to say too much about that. But this really nice, subtle movement here in the paint. Like, again, this painted quality of ToG, it allows for so much subtlety. You got to appreciate it. Even in this early art, even when the facial expressions are janky as fuck, you got to appreciate it. Even as he's learning anatomy, it's fucking rich with style, and you can still appreciate the atmosphere. Look how shiny his teeth are, dude. That's some Chip Skylark shit, man. My shiny teeth and me. It's really nice. So let's flash forward a bit. Let's go on to the door test. I know we're gonna love the door test. All right. First of all, this is where this is another incident, and we get this throughout. I'm not gonna say this goes away or anything in early ToG, but first of all, notice the art is already cleaner. Like, the faces are already cleaner. Kuhn's face looks a little more standardized here. It's not, you know, it's still consistent with what we've seen earlier. His face is kind of shiny. He's got some shiny hair. We put more detail in the hair. We got a vivid blue We got a vivid blue to kind of like, I guess it, like to match his eyes. He's surrounded by speech bubbles, so SIU really lets us know that Kun is surrounded by gossip and intrigue. This is peak Kun family characterization. We see how he grew up surrounded by gossip, a toxic family culture. Imagine being, being in a great family is a little bit like being in a constant family reunion. Everybody loves having, their brothers and sisters and shit, and you love seeing your uncles and or your uncles, your aunts and uncles and stuff once a year, at Christmas or Thanksgiving or whatever. Nobody wants to spend all fucking year at a family reunion, alright? I could barely handle a family reunion for like 4 days. Kun, of course, has to put up with it for like 20 fucking years at least. Probably like 200 years. Also, what do you fucking mean they're awful, those eyes? These are beautiful eyes. He actually has really nice eyes. It's really cool. Look how much gossip SIU can surround someone with and make Kun feel isolated. Like, the characterization in this chapter is phenomenal. Aguero is so fucking nice here. I mean, honestly, we shit on Kun. Aguero was my favorite character in Season 1. Like, easy. He's so good. He's so good here. And then we have, like, the historical memory depiction of his mother. And this is like, crazy. His mom looks like a Picasso painting. And I think Rack and Shabizu, and Aguero were all in my top 3. Those were the big 3 for me. Oh, wait, what do you mean Rack was your favorite? Don't fucking Rack was your favorite character, me. Exactly. Han Song is your favorite season. Exactly. Don't tell me it was Rack. Rack was probably my 3rd favorite. I did not dislike a single character in, Season 1. But I really like this depiction of Kun's mother here as like this distorted figure, and it's like you want his mother to be a source of comfort, right? But instead, his mother is kind of a source of paranoia. Like, his mother is like, don't fuck up or we're all gonna die. It's really wild. So I guess his mom is I bet you his mother is dead. I don't know. His mother is either dead or insane. But, actually, it would be really awesome. It would be really awesome to see Kun's mother. To see what happened to Kun's mother after Aguero left to climb the tower, I wouldn't know what to expect. But if SIU really wanted to, he could do some really incredible things for Aguero by having him reunite with his mom. I think that would be I don't want to use Attack on Titan language here, but that would be Kino. That would be Kino. So we have some cool stuff with Aguero, how he's affected. But now look at this. What does Kino mean? Don't even make me explain it. Don't even make me explain it. It's what every Attack on Titan fan would call any Attack on Titan chapter, except for like the last 3. Now this is actually some amazing perspective. Look at this fucking art. All right, there's blood on the walls. Han Sung has used his Shinsu shield, as we know exists now in Tower of God, to shield himself from the blood, of course. We had a bunch of red doors, lightly glowing. We had some black and off black. Actually, well, gray and off gray, I guess. It's really sets the scene. They are in an isolated space with nothing but a clock, clues. We get Han Sung Yu's kind of fucked up first face. It's kind of funny. But it's really cool. He's kind of shiny. The art, this is a really, really nice test atmosphere. It's like this minimalist, like only, what's really cool about this? This is a test where they only need what is necessary, and it is a test where we're only shown what is necessary. Like, there is nothing here but a bunch of identical doors, a clock, Yu Han Sung, and a wall full of blood. That's it. Like, now in Tower of God, we would have, like, a bunch of ornate walls. There would be, like, 10 clocks. There would be, like, 20 clocks all around the wall. All of the doors would have, like, really polished doorknobs and stuff. But here, yeah, there might be, like, CGI gears. Here, it's just black, red, Han Sung drip, and then walls. It's really awesome, and I guess it's instant coffee, because, you know, he needs that. It's really good. It's really cool. So yeah, it's instant coffee kid up there. And of course we get some good comical stuff. I like how SIU portrays the comedy. He doesn't quite make them like chibi figures, but he like has their arms just kind of get all pointy and stuff. I don't think the comedy is any like better. Well, I do think the comedy is better generally in season 1, but I'm not gonna say the art is like better for comedy really in season 1. But he does a good job making everything like pretty stylishly funny without needing to spend like too much effort on the art. It's really good. You have Rack just continuing to mouth off. You have a bunch of... honestly, and I will say this, given how ToG has evolved, if SIU did try to do something like this again, I think it would come off as like kind of cringe. I mean, he kind of has started doing it again, and it is kind of cringe, I think. I hesitate to say cringe now. I should just say embarrassing, like a grown adult. It's something that really only works with like the style of season 1. I don't know how he would adapt this kind of thing into like season 3. It's really cool. We have the red doors as the way out. The blue doors, once they change, we all die. It's really good. We have Rock. Rock actually is the first one to use... Rock is actually the first one to fire a bang in Tower of God, like out of the regulars. I actually think that's very cool. I think it actually showcases his hidden talent as an ancient. But we have a lot of cool stuff. We have like Kuhn's thing clicking in his mind, which is really cool. He's analyzing it. We have these guys off doing stuff in the back. Something that's also cool is we have people doing stuff in the background. We have perspective on the clock. This is something we would never ever get in like current ToG. Perspective on the clock. We have like, we can actually see how the clock is towering over Kuhn and like weighing down on his mind. It's so far above him, but it's so big and such a huge presence. It's really good. It's really nice as he notices that clue. It's just him and the clock. Han Sung is like just observing and reacting to him. And we get like a pretty sparse inner monologue from Han Sung. I feel like new ToG could be like, Aguero is analyzing it as I have expected. However, he doesn't know, like, he would give away, like, the secret of the test or something. If new ToG would give away the secret of the test. And look at Aguero overthink, too, with all these speech bubbles. It's actually amazing. I would love to see this. You see it, like, zoom in on him. It's really, like, look how he gets overwhelmed by this test. It's such an artistically compelling set of panels. Like, you really get the sense that he is being tested by this. It's amazing. There's only one other time where I think a test atmosphere is, like, really fucking nailed in this cerebral fashion, and we'll get to that in a little bit. I actually think, I think the 20th floor functions as a very extended door test, and I'll show why once we get there. Let's go... Oh my god, I mean, look at this. It's the whole fucking shebang here. He's just completely... Like, SIU had so many creative ideas to roll with. He's, you know, as Tower of God has gotten cleaner, the presentation has definitely become more standardized, and I think that's actually... I think SIU is just trying to show something completely different than what he was showing in Season 1. We get much less of the thought process and much more of, like, the actual spectacle of it. But, and this is, I mean, SIU, and I'll say this, you know, for what it's worth, I know people say the art was like worse in Season 1, but like, real shit, SIU predicted TikTok. That's insane. Like, TikTok wasn't even like invented as a concept yet, back when this was, like, Snapchat wasn't even around back then. I can't believe we have a TikTok reference this early. Rack literally kicks down the door, which is saying we actually have... I miss Big Rack, man. I miss Big Rack. Like, this was never... His foot's weird as shit here. It's really awesome. We actually get... Look at this. We will never have this again. We will never have this again. Savor it now. Because Rack will never be this badass. This is probably the most badass thing Rack has like ever done in Tower of God. But look at like look at the texture SIU gives to Rack. The lines on his face, the focus in his eyes, and the determination in his dialogue. Like, there's fucking reverence in Rack and Bomb here. It's like the ones that moved forward, while Aguero was stuck in the past. I know it's treated comedically here, but it's a really good characterization for Rack especially, but also Bomb too. Like, they're both the ones looking ahead, whereas whereas Aguero is like held back by his thoughts. Look at that texture. Look at that sweet ass lip. That's a lip that you're looking at that and you're like, man, how is this guy single? This is what makes SIU cringy comedy in S1. Yeah, it kind of is. Yeah, it's in service to characterization. It's never for the sake of the joke. That's it. That's a really good way of putting it. It hides a deeper theme. It's always in service to something else. It's never for the sake of the joke. It's always meaningful. We'll get to that. We'll get to that soon too. Let's skip ahead to a random chapter in the Crown game. We actually see I think character art has gotten better too. Like, Rack looks really good here. This is kind of a downtime chapter. I'm gonna actually skip to we're gonna skip to action. Here we go. Alright. Already we're back on motion. We see like splashes as they hit the floor as people run up. Dude, Huaryu doesn't fucking waste any time. We see like a full full circular sphere of motion for this. We get running. We get like, this is like really good, like, focused action. I think SIU does a really good job conveying motion earlier in the webtoon. Like, we get much more, we get the action lines, but they're much more focused, they're much more artistic, and it's certainly better than, well, I don't know about better, but it's certainly more creative and like more stylish than what we even got like 30 chapters ago back in Eden's Test. We already have more dynamic poses. They're not always anatomically correct. Huaryun's pretty fucking chunky in this panel, at least for the one thigh. But it's always in a pretty tasteful style. Like, it's never... It's always... Like, look at stuff like this. Like, you can see the impact of the hits. Like, you can see the position that SIU is going for, which goes a long way. It's, you know, I guess now that I'm thinking about it, it really does look like that one panel of Night Run that Ron sent me, where, like, the girl was, like, giving this other girl a hug, and it was really shitty anatomy. Like, it was really fucking weird. It was, like, the back was curved at, like, a 90-degree angle, but it was, like, you got the hug. You got the meaning of the hug, you know? The character was reaching forward to get the hug, so I could accept it. I could allow it. But you get the impact of every hit here. Like, SIU does such a good job showing what combat looks like. You just see this guy getting the shit beat out of him. I don't know how he's getting, like, cut with a staff. It's a blunt weapon. But, and yeah, as Rolo is saying, too, the panel overlap is really good. SIU is really not afraid to go outside the panels. It's really nice. Like, SIU in, like, a lot of the earlier seasons is, like, the vibe check meme, where, like, the hand, like, goes, you know, through, like, hey, you're being vibe checked right now. We get some good reactions, too, but the focus in Crown Game really is on the action. We get, like, the dripping of blood, and it's, like, black blood, too. It's, like, there's a certain... again, it's really stylish. It's not as visceral as it could be, but it's definitely, like, the action that you want to see. We have Rack growling with his saliva. We get Aguero running, and see like the more subtle motion blur. Like, besides these action lines, there's, like, more subtle motion blur that fits more with Aguero's motion. It's really cool. It's really good. And we see this, like, also, like, jagged line stuff. Yeah, not the same SIU that could show off decapitated buttons. It's really cool. It's really nice. We have gotten a little of it. We have gotten a little stuff like this recent time. But I mean, like, this is absolutely phenomenal. Like, I would compare this, like, what happens here, the closest we get to this is, like, where is the panel that I'm looking for? Probably, like, this chapter on, like, SIU going, like, far enough to actually, like, have white. Maybe it was last chapter. There's, like, these panels where, like, oh, this is a Yama chapter, fuck that. The panels where SIU is just, like, having white repeatedly just stab bomb, like, over and over again. It's, yeah, okay, I'm not gonna find the chapter. The Horiang versus Veal, don't even tell me to look at Horiang versus Veal. But yeah, no, actually, no, let's just do a quick comparison. Like, look at the action here in Crown Game. We see the process of motion. We see the process of the acrobatics that Hwaryun is following right now. We get the observation. We have Aguero coming out of the panels, show his perspective in full, landing right here. We see, like, the impact of the landing as this leg, like, this motion is still and close, and then the rest of her body is touching down. We have the sword slashes here that are really cool. And we get perspective. Now, I don't hate the art. You know, I don't hate the art. But I'm not even gonna say right now that this art is worse. Let's just look at what it does now that's, like, different. So let's start. Let's start at the beginning of this chapter. We have the motion here as, I guess, Shinsu's sword beams are kind of glowing around him. We have a Kerr, the classic SIU sound effect, Kerr. His arm is pretty clear. We have motion lines. I would not call them motion lines here. I'd call them tension lines. We have like tension lines here. We have the very clear motion lines here to show Arya shouting. Now let's look at a shouting panel here. I think Aguero shouts. Now here we actually don't have any motion lines. We just have Aguero shouting, and his mouth is kind of, you know, contorted in that classic season 1 style. Let me look at the chat real quick. Yeah, the paneling is obviously different. Like, let's look at the square here, rectangle here, square here. This we do. Now I'm not gonna say we don't get some non-standard paneling here. All right, we get some good splits here. We get some good, you know, action. We get both of their reactions. We get a foot coming in. I mean, and we do actually get some more folk. Now, we get this, like, whole thing where it's, like, all a blur here. I still think, like, anytime I see this, like, this whole, like, when the whole panel background is action lines, I think it's overdoing it. Sometimes, like, I really think it shouldn't be done often. And we see it in all of these panels here. We see it in all of them. It's here, it's everywhere. And it's supposed to help show the impact of it. But here we do see that focused. It's like it's a little more scribbly. It doesn't blend in as well, I don't think, as it does in, like, season 1 when it's more of a painted background. But we actually do see her foot is kind of more painted, the way the yellows are highlighted and darkened in certain places. We do see the focus motion with the heel, with the, like, where the foot is moving, which is cool. But it's so, I think what really makes it a little worse is that, or like what makes me not enjoy it as much here, is that it's a little more stylistically inconsistent. Like, the boot is good. Like, it's a good looking boot. And Arya, of course, looks very good and clean. But, like, in this panel, it's the boot in motion, right? in this panel, everything is on the impact. It's like she's in kind of a still frame, and the only thing that shows motion is the effects around her. And the impact is here. Like, the impact, and we do have impact, you know? We do have impact, and that impact is here where she didn't kick. And then we have her, like, wind around her foot, showing that she was, you know, kicking, and we get a shadow, which is better than half the other panels. Now, yeah, and I still enjoy this fight. Like, I still think this is a good fight. Like, this chapter, too. This chapter is still a good fight. I still think there's a lot of good things that happen in the art in this chapter, but it is different. SIU does things a little bit differently. He shows motion differently than he used to. He'll give, I think I think Season 3 has a much bigger focus on making things look epic. And that's why we have a lot more open environments when we go into combat. That's why we have, it's like to show like growth and the scale of what Bomb can do. That's why we have a lot more open environments and a lot more of like this total impact when we go into combat. There's a lot more focus on like this, like everything is like boom, like you can see it reverberate throughout kind of the whole panel. Like we got smoke here, we got blood here, we got wind here. Whereas, let's look back at another hit. Let's look here. Where did somebody actually get hit? We get this guy slamming into the wall. I'm not gonna say the impact isn't felt at the entire panel, but we just get like a simple blur on the entire panel and some focused impact lines here where we got the guy hit the wall. His whole body is kind of blurry where he hit it. We had some wind showing where he came from. We hit this guy with a solid cut. He's falling. You see his arm come out here where he hits the eye. I mean, this stuff isn't like fucking Kino action, but yeah, it's like it's not as I would say it's not as consistent in. I would say it's like not as the focus more. I think the focus here is more on the the focus here is more on the hit. Like in earlier chapters, it's more on the hit itself, whereas in later chapters, it's on the impact or the visual of the attack. Like here, we have like the impact of the kick, or what the actual attack looks like. That's why White has like his Grim Reaper stuff. That's why White has these like big I mean, I think a lot of it's still a lot of it is still great, and a lot of it is still like consistent with what. A lot of it is still in the same vein as what SIU has tried to show. Like, I'm just like, stuff like, if this was Season 1, like, their bodies would be blurry because they just jumped back. Their bodies would be blurry. They would have probably more kind of motion distortion than they do. But even so, the stuff we get does still show they're in motion. We might get something different with the background, I don't know. But then, like, we get a much more intricate background here. I think it's Season 1, like, we'd have just, you know, we'd have floor. We get some, there's definitely much less focus on the backgrounds and the environment, than there is in Season 3. But I think that's also, that's also a very intentional choice. Yeah, maybe a lot of it is just what he defers to assistants. Now, let's talk a little bit. Let's skip very much ahead. Oh, this is the wrong one. Let's skip way ahead. Let's go to the end. Let's show another big fucking, we're not even at the end. Let's show another big huge fucking master class in Tower of God art. Which one's the push? All right. I talked about this scene being good in my Andraste video, so if you want an explanation for why this one's good, then alright, we're still not there yet. I've still not, oh, it's even later than I thought. This arc is much longer than I give it credit for. Here we go. If you want an explanation why the Andraste stuff is cool, go watch a half-hour long video for that. Alright, let's look at this. Let's look at this whole thing. Which one are we gonna want? Are we gonna want this one? Do we want this one? No, we want this one. SIU does a really incredible job showing just atmosphere. Alright? In this test, we get a really cool showing of Bomb unlocking an ability that he doesn't quite understand, but can finally use in action. Like, this is his first real battle. Like, the safety whatever is off. The safety what? The safety net is untied. The training wheels are off. The safety on the gun is off. If you shoot someone, they're gonna have a hole in their head. So we get Bomb, like, really being scared. Look at the fucking scale of this bullshit right here. We get an entire big fucking mouth in Bomb's face. Also, the bull got bigger. The bull is definitely a compression licenser. But we get this isolation with Bomb and Rachel as, like, schools of fish swim around them. And, like, the motion of the bull cuts through them as they go through the water. It's a really good atmosphere. It's a really amazing atmosphere. I feel like I've talked about atmosphere, but, like, there's not much that I can add for each unique scene. But it gets cleaner and cleaner throughout the season. And SIU just has so many instances of really good execution in what he wants to do, to show, like, the grand scale of, like, a Shinsu battle in this, for example, to show, like, how beautiful of an environment Bomb is in, and how isolated he and Rachel are in this space, how hard, or, like, how desperate he is to use a bang, and what that looks like in the water, and what kind of power it has as it glows here, as Rachel and Bomb are, like, caught in the darkness. The other big thing that I think ToG really benefited from back in, like, I would say this was really good until Floor of Death. I would say Floor of Death was the first time I stopped feeling it. Was lighting. Lighting in Tower of God is supreme. It adds so much to characters' expressions, to the environment, to the intensity of the situation, or what the focus is supposed to be on. It's legendary. It's legendary lighting. We get this. Look at the grand scale. Like, you don't get this. You don't get this in new ToG. You don't. We will never see this again. My only, like, theory, not my only headcanon desire, whatever. Desire fits best. I hope that floor 134 or 135 has something like this, where we see it look more like floor 1. Like the unexplored section of the tower, the maze of the middle area, like the uncivilized part of the tower goes back to this wild scale and vivid environment that has been untouched by the Empire. But hey, I don't know, maybe the workshop goes up the floor, 370. I don't know. But you get this whole thing. It's really incredible. You have his hands here, his hands in the cave, defending Rachel, grabbing the light. It's really cool, and you can see how the light, like, goes onto his face from that angle as his face looks down into darkness. You can see the light shining behind Bomb. The two in the light. She gets a little touch of his blood. Motion on the push. Look how sequenced these panels are. It's such an incredible build-up. And that's the other thing about progressive, that's the other thing about these progressive similar panels and, like, showing the process. It helps with build-up and tension. You see her almost take his hand and then push her away. Now, I'm gonna be honest. I feel like the push speech bubble was probably not, like, this isn't the best. This is not the best execution I've ever seen. Like, who's saying push, But all the whole rest of this is just, like, wild. Also, there's a black line here for some reason. It's, like, the best thing ever. You get every single moment It's like a, I mean, it's like in film. It's like in film how you have different camera angles. Like, you get different reactions, different beats. Like, each shot in a film shows somebody's reaction or some other part of the scene. It, like, each shot in a good film, I should say, each shot in a good film is going to convey a new piece of information. Exactly. It's beautiful composition. It's really good. Like, this is like peak composition. You have him, like, losing his balance as he slips, him falling out of the bubble, him struggling as he falls, like his shock as he falls, him losing his breath, the bubble getting out of reach, Rachel getting out of reach, and then finally why. He just doesn't understand. It's insane. And we have, you know, the darkness of the race, I don't know. Everything will be lost in the darkness of the race. That's it. That's Tower of God. That's the tower. That's some amazing stuff in Season 1. Now let's go forward into Season 2, and let's take a quick look at the untrustworthy room. And I do have to go in a little bit, so we might have to come back to this. Maybe I'll even do maybe I'll do a little mini ToG Thursday tomorrow or something. But I really want to finish. I really want to go like through this, and we don't quite have the time I need today. But let's go to. There's a certain chapter I want to find. Actually, maybe we can do 2 chapters here. We can do 2 chapters here because I know something in this chapter that I really want to go over. Untrustworthy Room is, in my opinion, I don't know if we're talking about the same God chapter. The two chapters the 2 parts I'm really going to talk about here are the scenes with Prince in them, because I think the art where Prince is concerned is like some of the best ever. It probably has like the Horiang resisting the fire. Yeah, the Quababa panel. Yeah, we're gonna get to that one. So first of all, you have the motion of Goseng running. Like first of all, Season 2 is really just like peak Season 1. Season 2 art is peak Season 1. We're going to see some really beautiful backgrounds and painted panels, and we're going to see some really good action as well. I might have to end up skipping some of the amazing Mule Love stuff that's in here, but the fight between Bomb and Mule, or the contest between Bomb and Mule Love, is also pretty incredible. Flare Wave Explosion is a fucking joy to see when it's used. The impact of Bomb's hits and just showing how powerful he has gotten is illustrated incredibly well. But this whole thing is like these enclosed environments. This kind of it's not as minimalist as something like the Door Test, but the Untrustworthy Room does a really good job of showing uncertainty, isolation, dread, everything that you would feel by opening a door that you don't know if there's a friend or an enemy behind it. I really think the focus is on like how these characters are interacting with the environment and like how they're processing like their own trust issues, trying to get faith in one another. This is another really good instance of this sequence is another good instance of like composition, like build up in the panel. We see the knocking. We see Goseng talking into a pitch black door. We see her getting more anxious as she knocks on the door because an enemy could be coming down the hallway. We see the door open, and she doesn't know what's on the other side. We see her react to what's on the other side in confusion. And then we have the comedic payoff of Wang and Ania being little bitches in their rooms. That's good composition. That's another really example of good composition. And we just have them sweating because they're idiots. It's really cool. It's really good stuff. So if we keep going, let's find something a little more intense. This is also another, really good. Oh, God, the R-Crafter scene is another really good. It's kind of the same thing from what I was it's the same thing from what I was just talking about. But the scene of R-Crafter banging on Miseng's door and playing the game was also like really, really good. All right, this is a good one. This is a really... Oh, wait. Oh, is this the one? No, this isn't even the one. Here's another really good. This is just an instance of good art. I don't really know how to explain why this art is good. All I can say is, like, the art is really good here. Like, it's just really incredible design. We have the shading here showing, like, the darkness. The darkness here, it's kind of like shows Mule Love's hostility. Contrasted with, like, juxtaposed against these really bright, vivid colors. There's not much I can say about it. I feel like I'd actually have to, like, be an artist to dissect why this is really good. But just trust me. Like, just trust me. It's really good. Just trust me. I'm not even going to go through this fight because I don't know exactly how to talk about it. It's not the one I, like, really remember. Here's another really good instance of composition in this scene. And like, with the paneling. You get, like, everyone's reactions here as they talk to each other. That's another really good thing that we get a lot. The texture. That's something I haven't even, like, thought about, or at least verbalized. Texture in this is really good. It's not that ornate. Like, I would say it's still, like, pretty minimalist. But it's really clear. And it's really clear, and there's a lot of surfaces going on. But it all fits together really well. This is another really good thing. We have him acting as Prince leaves. We have him kind of waiting insecurely. Him realizing the Prince has left, reacting or relaxing a little bit, and then him becoming evil and stuff. And you're like, oh shit, what's this guy up to? Uh-oh, what's going on here? Alright, now let's go ahead a little bit further. Oh, here it is. Here we go. Alright. Here's our first instance of incredible fear in Tower of God. Maybe not incredible fear, but let's go here. We get Prince rushing into the room, and here's another really amazing thing. So we have the darkness of the room, right, and the glowing of the lighthouse. This is an incredible scene. We have, like everything is the same, right? The focus is on Prince, because he's the one, moving. He's the one with the dialogue, so you're going to be focused on Prince as he talks. But then, as he talks and is in his own little world, Rap Devil, whatever you want to call him, gets up silently and just stands over him. And then finally, bam, he's alive. He's going to fuck your shit up. It's fucking terrifying. It's really good. Rule of threes? Yeah, I guess so, yeah. It's that 3-step build-up. It's really nice. Now let's go to God mode, alright? Let's go to some God panel. It's the last chapter. Alright. So first of all, we have some comedic stuff of, like, the little chibi Wang Nan and Mule Love fighting. We had some good stuff here. We have some really intense shit with Wang Nan's eyebrows. I think Season 2, SIU actually gets so much better at nailing character expressions. So we have, like, all this lighting and atmosphere, like, coming in here. We have the light reflecting on Wang Nan and the empty rice bowl, showing the loneliness that he felt as all his friends had left him in the empty room that he's in, kind of isolated in his corner. We have his depression in these panels, his shock, or his fury and his desperateness, or his desperation in these panels, and him, like, slowly process. I mean, look at it, look, SIU gives us time to react here. I know Rolo's fucking nutting right now, looking at these reaction panels as we slowly get to process Wang Nan's thoughts here. We get, like, the whole, he starts to cry as he reflects on it. It's like, it's slow, but you get the whole process of him breaking down, of him of being able to understand what's going through his head and what pushes him this far. It's like, I know, like, this is just kind of narrative right here, but the art complements it so well as his expression slowly morphs over the course of the panels. There's some good action. Instead of action lines here, we get, like, an action gradient. I don't know how to describe it. We get really good painting on their faces too. This is pretty close to what this is pretty close to what was happening during the last examination, but we get even more of that painted quality and some more intense shading on his face and some, like, facial lines that we would see in a season 1 panel. We also get individual strands of hair here, which is really cool. It's good detail. It's a really good detail. That's our first Flower Unicorns, which is really cool. Now, if we keep going down a little bit, I love the glow in this room, the glow and, like, the reflection of light on people's eyes. This is a really good thing that, like, 20th Floor has in particular. It's the only, like, it's one of the only games that, like, takes place at night. Even though it's inside for most of it, you still get, like, a lot of glow here. This isn't something that really comes up again until, like, Hand of Arlene and Daller Show. But it adds so much atmosphere and so much intensity to the scene, because you see, like, how you really feel like they're in the environment. It's so immersive. It's really cool to watch. It's beautiful, honestly. I'm not the biggest fan of sideways panels ever, but I understand they have to happen. The motion here is really good, and it's much more refined than what we saw in Season 1. You'll again see that the motion is conveyed really well, showing the movement of his arm as opposed to just having, like, a bunch of action lines all around the scene. It's really good. So we have him, like, clear as he's still. Eon's not reacting. Let's go to the first God panel of, like, first of all, we get really good flame action here, and it's pretty innovative. I know SIU's, like, the flames are hard to draw, but I don't know what he's fucking doing with Heaven Kel. Just bring this back, dude. We get him, like, we can really see the heat, like, as, like, heat kind of goes off of his arm. His devil thing is, like, some kind of shape here. I think it's the wing. Well, no, the wing is here, so this is actually just pure flame Shinsu. But we see how it, like, scorches him. Like, we see how it, like, kind of, like, the wind envelops around him. It's really good at showing, like, how he's getting burned here. We have the intensity in his expression as the pink filter gets even closer. We get some quabba-ba-ba-ba-ba, quabba-ba-ba-bam, etc. Instead of, I say it, Quabba really is probably the cur of, like, early ToG. Like, instead of just saying cur everywhere, we just got Quabba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Although there was a little more. Look how this, even the sound effects are overlaid really well in this arc. Like, look how it just, like, it's a constant barrage of flame as it slowly, like, fades into, like, the next 4 panels. And again, or the next 3 panels, I guess. Raj's Rule of Threes comes in again. It's not Raj's Rule of Threes. Some great non-standard paneling here. But let's skip ahead. This is some good stuff here. It's some great stuff. It's the scale of the thing that he pulled out. We don't really see many people blow up in ToG, but that's a really good instance of people blowing up. Now let's go here, alright? Let's go here. This is a really fucking amazing, intense scene. Horiang's frame coming into the door. Horiang's shiny, threatening exterior being reflected upon. 2 people, just 2 kings looking at each other. Horiang, and it's really good. It's really good, like, focus on the eyes. And then bam. Look at this. This is an unbeatable panel. This is indescribably good. This is an indescribably good panel. This is like, dude, if you made an NFT of Horiang, right, like, this would sell for, like, 60 ether, alright? You could make a lot of money if you illegally minted an NFT of this and then sold it on OpenSea. I'm just saying. It's really good. It's a really intense scene. And I love how there's, like, just such a, I don't know how to describe it. Like, it's not just the fact that it's lighting here. Like, what makes this moment so shit your pants intense? It's not that it's sideways. It's just, like, you just see this full, jagged unveiling of power. It's even more intense than, like, a flare wave explosion. It's like you see something alien. You see a man transform into a weapon. It's not Viol firing a bang. It's a man unleashing a monster inside him. It's similar to the lobster. It's similar to Bomb unveiling the lobster. And but in this case, I think it's actually even more threatening, and it just works so well with the scene. That's true. That's true, and yeah, that's also true. That's actually a really good. That's a really good reason to have it as sideways too. You just see it gradually unveiled, and you just take it in little by little. The sheer scale of this man taking up the room, about to brutally murder the man in front of him. This is like where season 2 really pops up. Season 2, early season 2, 20th floor especially, just nails these intense moments. Let's go over 2 more things. Let's go over this chapter and the next one before we call it a day. So we get some nice, you have no idea. This is actually similar to the Nia murder scene, except less visceral and more comedic. Maybe not more comedic, but like you don't know how badly. No, I'm gonna say it. This is actually a little bit comedic. It's just pow, pow, pow. These are comedic punch sound effects. This guy covered in blood. Now, I make fun of the blood in season 3, but I will put it out there. It's a little more consistent, but this isn't that much better. Like, this isn't the best blood I've seen in a webcomic. Now, this is the best blood I've seen in a webcomic. This is better, alright? But it's really nice. You just see this man, like, he's just the devil right now, like, right? Like, this is a season 2 instance of, like, Demon White. Okay? Gosuke is going wild. You get his eye. I mean, we're never gonna get it again. But man, if SIU did anything like this ever again, like I would make like a, I don't know I was gonna try to make some tasteful joke about like nutting, but I can't. I would really enjoy it. I would really enjoy it if he did anything like this ever again. You even get a little comedic thing about Prince's like face spark. Look at this little cutie. He's so handsome. He's a little man. He's a little man now. But let's go to what I really want to talk about in this scene, which is this. The composition, the dialogue, the way everything flows together in this scene is just absolutely incredible. We get really good motion with Wang Nan dodging the strike. This is actually called back like 200 chapters later as Kasano does the same thing to Wang Nan. We get the distorted expression of Lurker as Wang Nan crushes his arm. We get the impact of Wang Nan messing up his suit and crushing the arm. The bomb slipping. The Shinsu remote slipping. The trembling of his hand. Let's go to some really intense shit. This is really good, like, from Lurker's perspective. The darkness in Wang Nan as he's about to murder him. We get really good reactions from Lurker. And Wang Nan just having to take it all in. We get really intense expressions from both of them. It's really good. Like, we can't dwell on it for too long, but it's really, there's this really personal moment between them. Like, they're, like, on the same level as they're, like, connecting with one another. Like, it's really, really rare to get 2 characters meeting eyes like this. Like, in New ToG, for example, this would be 2 panels. This would be... And I'm not saying New ToG really does it any worse. It still works plenty of times, but let's see it. Let's see a good instance of this. Alright. White here. Bomb looking... Okay, no, this is it. Bomb looking at him, White looking back. It's 2 panels, right? We get Bomb's eyes, and we get White's eyes. This is a really good instance of it, but it's 2 panels. In this, SIU just has them face to face, and it creates this intimacy between them. And I think that really fits what he's going for here in this scene. Maybe it would be... And I'll say, like, this scene isn't a scene where they needed to be together in the same panel. But this scene, it's really important to do that because it's Lurker trying to show Wang Nan that they're really not so different. So the art really complements what SIU is trying to show here. And of course, in a different way, it complements what SIU is trying to show here. I mean, this is just an absolutely... Now, this is the first time I've seen anyone cry from the pupil It really does just highlight that Bomb is not human. But it's just, also, you can kind of like see writing here. You can see like some little like Mexethian writing. I don't know what his eyes are saying, but he's telepathically communicating something. But it's really nice to see the way these two connect as well, as it just shows kind of the way that Bomb is affected by the sheer demonic nature of White. But back to season 2, we get this connection, and even Prince just reacting in a very genuine manner. Like in season 3, for example, he would shout something. He'd be like, "You're lying!" But in season 2, he's just fucking looking at him, like kind of shocked of the truth of the situation. It's really cool. The beats in this are just absolutely incredible. We have them trembling as Wang Nan shoves the bomb in his mouth. We have him like processing to himself, justifying his own revenge, and then finally just complete light around Wang Nan's eyes as he gives up and grants him mercy. It's really insane. I mean, like, the light here is really fucking nice. It's just so, it's so good. Any scene where White grabs Bomb, also, as you were saying, Raj, earlier, is just key. It's, hate to say it again, Kino. It's peak. It's the pinnacle. We get good motion here. We get good. Yeah. Okay. So this is like more in line of a 2-panel reaction. We have Wang Nan shouting here, Lurker here. It's good, and then they're both connecting again. And then bam, finally it's like we have a wider shot to signal the end of the confrontation, and Viol in the side. Like, we're ready to move on, we're gonna go back to Viol. It's a really good changing of the scene. It's a good transition. And then bam, we get this Wang Nan Viol moment, really amazing. And that leads us into the other amazing part of Tower of God. And this is one of my favorite scenes ever in Tower of God. I think it might actually be my favorite. Like, my favorite scene in ToG. This post 20th floor test. This first really big connection between Wang Nan and Viol. You just have them in the dark, kind of isolated from all the festivities that are going on. And then we get just the isolated reactions of these two in the light. We get good perspective, good reflection on what has happened in the arc, as like the dialogue kind of matches what Wang Nan is remembering as he experienced the test for himself. There's really good body language here as well. And there's a good mix of comedy, but I think this even, as the light reflects upon Viol, as Viol is like kind of bathed in light here, and Wang Nan is like below him in the darkness. It's one of those moments that subtly shows. It's one of those moments that slightly shows Viol's godhood, I think. Like Wang Nan is bowing down to him. It paints Viol as a savior. It's in a comedic impression in this, but later on it'll be used more seriously, and this is a good way to set that up. And then finally you get these two, like Wang Nan. This is a really good composition of the panel too. We have empty space with it here. Wang Nan below, Viol above, and then boom, transition from night. And today, these are actually the same these are the same 5 white lights that White was looking at as he was defeated. So nobody knows what it means still, but you know, it could be anything. But yeah, we can't forget the Augustus panels, actually. Let's just do a quick little overview of some other god panels here. All of a sudden, bam, the blue sky is gone. We get dark Augustus again, evil Augustus. It's really cool. It just showcases, it creates this ominous feeling incredibly well. And it's honestly like completely foreign to like any of the other environments of the test. Like, it's such, like, the red and black thing is like such a contrast to the blues that we saw with like Mule Love, and a generally lighter environment, besides the hallways, I would say. but a lot of the individual rooms had lighter environments. But yeah, I think the giant is watching. That could be it. That could definitely be it. But yeah, I know. I kind of rushed towards some of the art at the end, but just going through this, we'll probably continue this next week. We'll probably need a full ToG Tuesday next week to do it too. So maybe we'll just progress with this next week. But just there's really a lot more emphasis. I think in season 1 and early season 2, there's a lot more emphasis on when it comes to combat. I would say there's more emphasis on like the impact of a hit, or like the bodily impact of a hit, like how a body moves in combat, and atmosphere, like creating a tense or adventurous atmosphere in the tower. And we'll see how that changes, and how like the focus tends to change as we progress through season 2. But we'll continue that discussion next week, I think. Alright, thanks a lot for watching, guys. That does it for this week. I'll see you on Friday for our final Lore Olympus Fridays. Have a good one, guys.